Things are getting interesting because whales seem to be stepping in and accumulating in secret without setting off too many flags, so the market is late to catch on. And the next 48 hours are crucial for XRP in this very short window of time. We're going to need to see some new life breathed back into the market. Otherwise, it's likely over through the summer. And since the technical all-time high back on January 16th, we've been in a downtrend. But that might very well change soon. And I'll explain how this will likely look and occur. Now, in this video, I'll be covering everything from Ripple's latest move in DC to how much XRP you need to hold in order to be within the top 10% of XRP investors, which could very well make you rich in upcoming years. I'll be sharing a private post that is only for our Altcoin Pro University members and from one of our professional analysts. However, I felt it was important to share now as markets look like they might be recovering, and this information is just too good not to share. But this type of value is consistently posted and updated daily. I'll also be diving into the technicals as well as some on-chain metrics and explain how they work. So if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Paul, and you can find me on Twitter or X at PauliDeFi, PauliDeFi. Now, really quickly, I wanted to share this because it does make me feel quite bullish, especially as we're entering a new phase of the market, one where they seem to be recovering and everything is pointing more to potential upside. So yes, the next 48 hours are going to be crucial because either we break out or we start to break back down. It's not likely we're going to get that much more sideways or range trading action, and instead we are at a major point of resistance where things are starting to look kind of good, and I'm starting to see some accumulation, which we will talk about. So that said, there was a post from John Squire, and I'm not sure if he's the one that took this video, but it is kind of cool. They're flexing over in DC with some ads. Let's watch. And so, yes, they are now in a major position of power because of the major legal win with the SEC dropping that appeal. However, it did fail to ignite a rally. Many people are wondering what's holding it back, what's really going on. Well, when we take a look at the daily price change on the majority of cryptos, you can see that Solana is up 6.23%, Chainlink is up 6%, Stellar is up 4%, HBAR about 4%, Ethereum 3.5%. And actually XRP is only up 3.11%. If you look at the social volume changes, Solana had a boatload of social volume as well as Ethereum on a daily frame. In other words, it's up 42% today over yesterday, whereas XRP has barely been mentioned. And then you have Chainlink, XLM, and HBAR down on the daily. However, XRP seems to be lagging relative. Even on a price change perspective from a 7-day time frame, you can see that HBAR is definitely not performing to the same degree. But even then, XRP is just barely making the cut above Bitcoin over 7 days, up about almost 5%, while Ethereum and Chainlink are up a whopping 10% and 9% apiece. Now, I personally like this because this leads me to believe that while nobody is talking about it, no one really is paying attention anymore. Maybe the market is kind of burnt out on the current price action and is just bored with XRP. This is typically when whales begin to accumulate. And to further support this sentiment, XRP new investor rate has fallen to a 4-month low. In other words, over the past 4 months, this is the lowest amount of new investors that have entered XRP because things are starting to get kind of boring. We're talking about the network value to transaction ratio hits a 5-year high. We're talking about less and less people talking about XRP and less people entering XRP on new wallet addresses. which is why I'm actually kind of getting excited about this price action. Yes, we are in a current intermediate term downtrend. This is the technical all-time high. Don't want to argue about the 384 high. That was a kimchi premium on Korean exchanges based on the Korean dollar, not the actual US dollar. So yes, $3.40 was the all-time high on the majority of exchanges. Then we had another major high right here on the Trump pump, right? Only to see the market break right back down below that $2.70 some cent range. So now we have an intermediate term downtrend where the lows keep coming in lower and the highs keep coming in lower. And so generally speaking, you can argue this is a downtrend. However, we have yet failed to break below this $2 range to $1.95 range, which seems to be a very strong support. So if we touch this range one more time, it's likely we're going to the $1.50 range, and that's also very much possible and potential. But I'm kind of getting excited about the current price action as we're now starting to paint a potential new uptrend. In other words, you can see right here, if this is our major low, we have our next low right here. If I could grab the freaking tool, I swear I do not like trading view. Sometimes you can just drag these a little too easily. Then our next high comes in right here. Our next low is right here. And so if we break above this range of about 260, okay, then chances are we're going up to the 280 range like this. And by the way, this is going to be the major range of resistance that we're going to want to break above, because if we break above this range right here, you know what, let me go ahead and remove the majority of these drawings so you can see. If we break above this range, this is going to be a very strong position for XRP. And one could argue that this right here was a major bull trap, considering the majority of all of those gains were sold right back off into a new local low of about $1.90. So then our current trend line or resistance would be right about here, where we saw yet again another slight breakdown below the range, but now we're starting to tease the range again. And so this leads me to believe that on any positive news or catalyst, or just even whales trying to hide their buying as volume is consistently declining. Now one could argue this does not look like whale volume, but chances are they are deploying very small amounts of capital to consistently buy the product, while at the same time not spooking markets, or better yet, getting markets too excited about a major pump, because then people would continue to buy them out of the price they actually want to accumulate in. These look like strong accumulation ranges right here, and it looks like sellers might actually be exhausted. So when we were talking about this article, they posted some technicals, or on-chain analysis from this product called Sentiment. And yes, I do have access to Sentiment. So that said, you can see that consistently into the major new all-time highs, or the local, I would say yearly highs of about 280, new network growth on XRP was consistently trending to the upside. But since that point in time into the new all-time highs and then the Trump pump, we've seen less and less new wallets joining. And at one point in time, we almost saw a collapse on the daily of only 1,476 new wallets. I believe this is actual wallets, but I'd have to double verify. Either way, this is a collapse on network growth, which leads me to believe that the majority of people who wanted to be in as retailers were already in. Now that they're bored, there is likely going to be accumulation, as we are getting, again, a new technical trend here. So this is really exciting stuff. Now, I don't want to jump the gun too early, but if we do see a bit of a breakdown right here, then this is not going to look too hot, and it's far more likely we're going down to the $2 range. If we are supported right here, and I would argue over the next 48 to tops, maybe 72 hours, a break above that 250 range and arguably 260. We go there, we're going straight up to 280. And by the way, this is really the range that we want to break above, considering this has been a pretty strong resistance since back in December of 2024. And even on the breakdowns right here, you can see once and twice we were supported. And then when we finally broke down, we actually failed to really break out on any serious time frames. And that would include on the Trump pump right here, where he announced that they're going to be adding XRP to the crypto reserve. In other words, people use this pump in order to get out of XRP at the time. But generally generally speaking, I would love to see this thing continue to the upside and just break above 255 to 260. So I'm really liking the fact that social volume is down because retailers are just not paying attention. And typically when they're not paying attention, that's when the bigger players step in, support the price, create a new trend, and then we see some explosive moves to the upside that are confirmed by volume. As you can see here, we've had some pretty major ranges of growth in terms of volume right back here into the new local high, then even into the all-time high. And since the all-time high, we've had a few major support ranges right here, but generally speaking, volume has declined quite tremendously and arguably collapsed. But that doesn't mean that they're not accumulating, and this right here is a good stark example. And to further paint that picture, right here I have the price of XRP in green. Then I have three different cohorts of investors. So the yellow cohort or the line that you're looking at are people that hold between 0.1 to 100,000 XRP. I would argue that these are probably retail investors, right? Then you have some actual investors here sitting on between 1 to 10 million XRP. And then you have some institutional guys. We're talking big money banks or like the Brad Garlinghouses over at Ripple. So in all situations and circumstances, you can see that right before the pump, the major players knew what was coming and they were accumulating like crazy as the line went up, and they held more and more XRP. And this is, again, the red line. Well, as things stand, they've actually been holding the range pretty strong, and it's actually climbed a bit since the local low right over here of about 230. And now what that we're seeing a new directional change in this intermediate term trend right here, or I would say shorter term trend, because this is the intermediate term trend to the downside. This is a shorter term trend from the local low right here at about $1.90. You can see that they did accumulate and they've been holding their position strong. So these are huge players, and it's very difficult to have the level of liquidity they would need in order to enter and exit positions seriously. So this is what I'm actually looking at. I'm looking at that cohort of people that own between 1 million to 10 million XRP, which is still a stupid amount of money. And basically, since the lows back here below 50 cents, they've not only been accumulating, but consistently adding to their positions because they know what comes next. And so not only have they been adding, but so have retailers been adding. Retailers are just consistently accumulating as well, which is really interesting to see that although wallet activity is down, the people that are actually holding XRP in current wallets are still accumulating XRP. Now, it's a very slow, drawn out process for them. It's not like they're adding a stupid amount of XRP to their wallets. As you can see, this blue line is well above them, but you'll also see that these guys have some serious activity at times where even XRP dumps. So that said, whales do seem to be buying and accumulating, and one day we might even see the volume confirm that. Now, on that note, you don't have to be a quote unquote whale to still be in the top 10% rich list for XRP, because all you would need to hold in order to be in the top 10% of accounts that hold XRP would be 2,500 XRP. So if you already hold 2,500 XRP, you would be in the top 10% of holders. By the way, being in that percentage or cohort is awesome. But if you could even start to move into that 5% range, or even upwards of that 1% range where you own 52,000 XRP, that could potentially set you up for life as the investors know what comes next. And it seems like we're actually starting to look healthy and to recover. Now, that said, I'm not throwing my entire portfolio at this move, because it's also very much possible we get a new local high right here, and then the market breaks down for a new range low. But that said, I also am excited about the fact that now we're starting to get some support here, and volume is consistently declining while we're starting to trend to the upside. So yes, a touch of 260 is likely not only taking us to 275 to 280, but will probably take us higher. And on that breakout, we're going for some new all-time highs. It's extremely likely. Now, many people are calling for a market recovery because the recessionary fears were overblown and the markets really sold off pretty deep, to the point where we're starting to get a new outlook and a perspective on the markets, as our very own DeFi Mo shared inside of Altcoin Pro University only for our members, but I'm going to share it for you right now. The fact that these are some important signs which point to a more positive future. Now, I'm going to cover a few of these really quickly And then we're going to look at the charts that he shared and how several key indicators suggest a more bullish outlook. The first is the fact that inflation fears over tariffs are overblown. As if they were actually worse, we'd continue to see markets sell off. But right now, they're starting to look like they're recovering, even in the crypto sector. That said, during Trump's first term, apparently they applied tariffs, and that did not cause broad inflationary pressure and even led to lower prices in some sectors. In other words, the majority of the sell-off that came from the Trump tariffs was likely due to fear of uncertainty. Now, inflation is also easing and services are getting sticky. What that means is that in most sectors, inflation is continuing to drop, which is healthy, while services are remaining sticky or staying a little bit higher in terms of inflationary pressure. And that's probably just due to economic demand, which is actually a good sign that not everyone is hurting as badly as you would think, even with consumer sentiment down due to tariffs. And across the board, global banks or central banks are cutting their rates, which I expect the Fed to follow suit over the upcoming months and also apply M2 money, which means they are going to increase the money supply. And every time this happens, we see QE. Guess what? Markets tend to rally and rise, which is really good for crypto while the dollar weakens. So imagine a situation where not only do we get QE, but we also get a situation where interest rates eventually come down, where the fact that tariff fears were overblown, and the fact that small businesses are now going to get credit access and arguably are going to be incentivized to get credit to start growing their businesses and offering services and creating jobs because they don't believe that a recession is in sight. And I'll go ahead and highlight that for you. But if you join Altcoin Pro University by clicking the link down below, bullrunners.com, not only will you get insights like this that will help you to make better decisions, but we have tons of tools, training, and resources to help you become a crypto pro and just a market expert. But here are the charts when we're talking about record rotation out of US stocks, when we're talking about the inflation cookie that has crumbled, when we're talking about things under Trump and things under Biden, or the fact that we have interest rates consistently declining across the board with all major central banks. These charts can be life-changing. The information inside of Altcoin Pro University can be life-changing, especially when you check out our library and see all of the value that we offer when it comes to strategies, the how-tos, the psychology, the dangers, and how not to get scammed, the narratives and breakdowns inside of cryptos, so you can get ahead of the curve and trend. And also every Tuesday, I host a personal live call where I talk to our community members and teach them how to do technical analysis like a pro, which is very different than anything you get in these videos. So if that sounds interesting to you, then head on over to bullrunners.com, click that link below. You're going to see this video where you can watch what you get on the other side, bar none the best in the space. And we can't guarantee any results, but what I can guarantee you is that you will absolutely love it. And if you don't, you get your money back. So thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you got value today. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.